So, so if you, John, can you guys just access your test by going to the Canvas and to the quiz?
Yeah.
And your test will be there. Okay. So when we start, you should do that so you can see what you missed and we can correct it and it'll make sense. But before we do that, I want to say this, and I'll repeat this later for the people that come later. Is we did change the class to the 3 classes to 111, Jim's continuation of 110, and then 115, Rodney's continuation of the finished track. That's on cabinets, cabinet making. And then I'm going to do blueprint reading instead of roof framing. Yeah, because we decided. Yeah.
The blueprint class is gonna be in person, or that's gonna be online?
No, it's going to be online. So this semester will be online, and I'm thinking, you know, we said, well, we'd rather take the roof framing in person. So if we're not going to be able to do any in-person classes in spring, let's take it in summer. So that's what we'll do. And I'm thinking summer will be clear because the vaccine's going to hit in the next few months. I mean, it'll come in layers because first they'll get the healthcare people and the old people. You guys probably don't even need them, but I'm going to need one as soon as I can. But we should all have them by May, and the first summer session's late May. So I think we'll, for sure, you know, unless something goes wrong, and that's always a possibility, we'll be able to do the class the whole time in summer. And if there's a problem and it's lagging by a month, we can, as a group, I'll get a hold of all of you, decide if we want to maybe make it a summer 2 class. We give ourselves 6 weeks to clear it. But I don't think we'll have to do that, but that's another possibility in case it's slower than we think for some reason.
Hey, Patrick, do you know what CT number the blueprinting class is?
Yes, it's 116.
Okay, that's 116? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So Rodney's got 5 in his 115, the blueprint, I mean the cabinet, it's intermediate finished carpentry is the name of it, but it's cabinet making basically. And if the school allows us, and you know, they were considering spring semester a continuation of fall, except that California is getting worse in COVID infections, right? So we're actually going the wrong way. It won't matter for the vaccine because that'll clear most of it up. But until then, the school may close down even occasional labs at the school. We'll wait and see, but you know, but anyway, if they allow it, I think Jim and Rodney are going to have more labs. I may have a lab too, you know, just to look at some different blueprints. So anyway, Rodney's got 5 and Jim's got 11 and I've got 11. So we need about, I don't know, what did we have last time? They say 18, but I think we can get away with 15 or 16, I think. But anyway, if you're going to take any of those classes, you need to sign up pretty soon. So I won't be seeing you after tonight, so I won't be there to remind you. But also, like I told you before, the dean, sometimes if the numbers are real low, he'll say, you know, oh, fuck it, let's just cancel this one. I yell at him. I get in screaming matches with my dean. Oh, I haven't a couple of times. Because I don't like the way he does that. You know, it's not fair because usually our classes barely hang in there and make it. But it's always his last minute. And you know, I've done this for 13 years and I tell him, and he's done it for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and he should know better, but he gets pressure from the vice president above him. And they're saying, look, any classes that are, their theory is that if you cancel classes, the students will jump to another class. They have a chance to jump to another class. And I keep saying, you know, my students, for the most part, don't do that. they're here taking these classes, and you know, some of them are doing general ed classes, but a lot of them aren't. They're just doing this. Never seems to get into their heads. But anyway, sign up if you would. If you can, as soon as you decide what you want to do, sign up for those classes when you can, okay? I mean, 11 for this time is pretty good. It never gets full until closer to the class. But I'm just telling you, we're in hard financial times in the college, and it would be safer to sign up sooner than later. You know, you can always drop the class, or if you have financial aid, you know, you can drop it and redo it. So you really can't lose by doing it. You know, it
Hey,
doesn't
Patrick,
lock you into anything. Yeah.
can you send us the emails of the classes that are available?
Hey, Mar. You don't know where to find it on the internet?
Yeah, I think I do.
You just would rather have me do your work, right? Well, I want you to do it because you should. I mean, I don't even know what the times are. I don't memorize it. I can tell you what three
For
are.
which,
They're,
for which
Hamar,
class?
they're offering. Rodney's teaching 115. I'm teaching 116. Jim's teaching 111. So those are the classes. I can tell you that. And the classes are mine's blueprint reading. Jim's is, I don't know, 111. What is that? Construction trade,
Neat.
beginning construction trades.
Yeah,
Yeah, intro to all the trades.
Yeah. And then Rodney's is intermediate finished carpentry. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, how much
So
is
those are the
BT?
classes. Any more details? I don't know them offhand, but just go to the school website and go to take a class where that guy, the science teacher's face underneath, has got a bunch. Go to take a class and just keep doing the semester and stuff you want, and you'll get to it.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I have it open right now if you want to know the times or the days. If you're actually curious.
Well, they're all going to be they're all going to be roughly 6 to 9. So mine's probably Tuesday.
112 is Monday, 110 is Tuesday, Wednesday.
They still have
Wednesday.
112 on there.
Yeah.
Are you? You're not
And
looking
then-
in the place. You're not looking in the same place, though, right?
I'm looking at my class schedule. Oh,
Because I just looked at the one at the school website under take a class, and it had dropped the roof framing.
Yeah.
You couldn't have 112. That's the class now.
the 112 is this is for this
Right.
is for this semester. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think Monday was roof framing, but I think blueprint reading is probably Tuesday,
Yeah, it's on Tuesday.
and Rodney's is probably Thursday, and Jim's is probably Wednesday. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's what it is, Hamar. 116 is Tuesday, 111 is Wednesday, and 115 is Thursday.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I already took Rodney's and Jim's
You've
class.
done one. You've done that one, yeah.
Both of them.
Oh yeah. Okay, great. Have you done Jim's 111?
Yeah.
Have you done my blueprint reading?
No, I haven't done yours. I just need yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't remember who takes what. Sorry. Okay, so we're all squared away, yeah? You can ask anytime. So let's go over the exam and then we'll get out of here. John, can I use your test?
Well, you did last time without asking. I don't know why you change it.
Well, you got 100, so that's as good as I could do. So I don't take it. So
No, of course.
You know, I wish I could get my, the picture of you guys alongside this.
You should be able to, if you click on the stuff on the right, you should be able, you know, there's a bar and then there's a picture and then there's a double bar and then there's a grid. You should be able to click one of those and get it.
Wait, on the final
On Zoom.
exam page?
No, on Zoom. Oh, are you talking about seeing our video feeds or more?
No, your video feeds when I'm looking at the test.
Because
I got, what it does is it takes, well, let's see here.
can you see the video of yourself?
No,
Oh.
it reduces it to a bar, just a bar.
And there aren't 4 buttons on there with a line, the square, and then a couple rectangles. Because it normally reduces mine to just so yours. I have to click over to the double rectangles. But I know yours works different.
Yeah, mine works different. Hold on. Show video panel, is that it?
I don't know.
That's it.
Nice.
Okay. Not that I enjoyed looking at your ugly faces, but no, actually, you guys are pretty good looking bunch, as I must say. Okay, so a rake wall is a wall with a sloped top plate. So here's another thing. It's kind of late for this test, but in future tests for you guys, a lot of times you can get clues for future questions from back questions. So this one, if you thought it was true and you answered true, this would help you on some of the later ones on rake walls. But anyway, it is a wall with a sloped top plate. It's that simple. But if you knew that, then you would say, well, it goes anywhere that needs a sloped top plate, which would be, you know, that's all you could have to say, actually. But most of you put, you know, in a shed or under a cathedral ceiling, you know, which is all great. The next one we talked a lot about, again, if you weren't in on that discussion during class, it might seem kind of funny, but they can be drawn full size on the floor, sheathing with chalk lines. So that's the kind of the practical way of doing it. And then if you do it that way, the thing you got to be careful about on number 3 is that everything's parallel, because the whole idea is you want to really replicate the wall so you get it accurate. So the wall is going to be square and plumb. So that's what you got to make sure of. And then 4, most of you got it right, but not everybody. And what you could have done if you weren't sure is draw on the thing. Draw on the 2 outside studs and then draw on the plate and draw it thick enough so you could see the end of the plate and that it had to have angles and the top of the studs have angles. And then if you drew it accurate enough, you'd know that they were the same. Yeah, and then where would they be used? Wherever you need a triangular wall, triangular topped wall. 6, a construction, we've talked about that. You can use a construction calculator to figure those. But if you don't use a calculator, you can figure out the spacing of not the first to the second. If you have a 15 1/4 or 23 1/4 smaller first bay, but if they're all the same, or from second to third, you just find that difference and it's the same all the way up. You just add it each time, so it makes it easy. So that one's true. 8, I think I gave it to everybody. Some answers were better. I would say if you only said, well, some of you got this wrong too. You said, the majority of you said a pergola has a closed roof. No, an open roof, and a gazebo has a closed roof. Well, that's not totally true. You can have I've got gazebos on my community here that have their slatted tops. But a lot of them are closed. That's why when we replaced them, we made them closed. Pergola is always open. It could have screening, you know, little boards so that it's partially closed. But really, they're kind of iconic shapes, and a gazebo is round or octagonal, you know, and it's kind of Victorian looking. which those shapes would be. And it's got half walls. It's not completely open. It usually has walls that go halfway up. And a pergola has no walls, of course, you know that. So I just wrote in what would be a more complete answer, even though I gave you credit if you said anything that was a difference. Number 9, 2 ways. Most of you got this pretty well. Technically, they would have had to be different directions. Some people put different ways of putting them in straight. One person said they could go in from underneath, which is true. And this one, a lot of people missed. I mean, they didn't get full credit. This was one where you circle all of them that were true. So decking boards are made out of tropical hardwoods. Everybody knows that. Engineered fiber plastic lumber like Trex. Most people got that. Some didn't, but many didn't get Douglas fir, and they still build decks out of Douglas fir. And in the old days, all of them used to be Douglas fir, but they still do build decks out of it. They do not build decks out of siding for obvious reasons. So if you got 2 out of the 3, I gave you full credit. But the third one was 2x4 Douglas fir. Post base, everybody got that.
Wouldn't it be 2x6 Douglas fir?
No, the framing, but they used to often put 2x4.
Wow.
Yeah, 2x6.
I've never seen that. I've only seen I've seen 2x6s, but
Yeah, no, they used to do 2x4 a lot, and that changed. Now there's more 2x6, and the ones that, well, no, you still see narrow tropical hardwoods, depending on where they get the hardwoods and what form they come in. You have to kind of take them as they are a lot of times, unless you get them at the local lumberyards. Post base secures the post to the footing. SDS, if you put any difference, which all of you did, you all seem to have found the same place and copied it. So I gave you credit, but what I've been saying in class, and only 1 or 2 of you said, was that it's the superior shear strength. Because the reason you can replace on a post base, for instance, post bases always used to have double holes, and you put a through bolt or 2 through bolts all the way through. And not that through bolts are that great shear, but because they're fat, they're 1/2 or 5/8 thick. But you couldn't do sheetrock screws or any kind of screw because they didn't have very good shear strength. So when Simpson came out with that SDS that had really great shear strength, it was a lot, if an earthquake pulled up on the post, it would just shear off those other type screws. So they got a screw that had really good shear value, and then you just pepper it with like 6 or 8 of those, and it takes the place of the through bolt. You were right. They all also have a better finish and self-tapping. But other screws have those finishes, and other screws are self-tapping. So those are not always a difference, but the shear strength is really the unique thing. Sonotubes, I gave everybody credit. Most people had this. I don't know where they got it, but it didn't talk about what it looked like. So I said you should describe it and say that it's hollow. It's a form, so it's hollow, cardboard. Some people even put wax because it is waxed. A deck more than 12 inches off the ground needs concrete footings. True. 15, deck railing posts need a better connection now. You've got too many failed railings. 3 parts in the deck. I've said frame, but most people just think deck. So most people put decking boards as part of it, and I gave you credit. But it really should be posts, beams, joists, stuff in the frame. So you just got to look at the questions really. A lot of times I'll bold the word frame so that you, oh, he's emphasizing that. So, oh yeah, he doesn't mean the decking on top, but I didn't this time, so. Yeah, they're requiring metal connectors now. You know, I mean, that's all you see, so most of you didn't realize that they didn't used to not do it. But yeah, we used to just nail and screw them together. Balusters, they have to be, it varies from community to community, but they're all around, they're all either 4 or 6 inches minimum, not 12. Remember, they have to stop a baby from getting its head there. And I think a lot of them are 4, but I think I've read some are 6. So they vary, but none of them are as big as 12, because that wouldn't, a baby wouldn't get stuck in a 12-inch. Baby just go all the way through and fall off the deck with a 12-inch. Deck frame to house, we talked about this. If you didn't hear the discussion, it's kind of hard. You know, there's another question a little further on, a multiple choice that asks you to name, which is the worst, the most dangerous part. And that's, they all look pretty good. So unless you had that discussion, you wouldn't know. But it is the deck, it is the ledger. And this is how the best way to put a ledger on. You got to strip away the siding. And this is not necessarily for strength. This is for weatherproofing. Because if you just put it right through the stucco or the siding, where the hole where the screws and bolts go, if you did a sloppy job, they could suck in water, and then that would be damaging your, possibly your walls of your house. So they want you to use a butyl or a bitchethane weatherproofing, which can't go on a finished surface. Okay, there's the one I was referring to. The cause the most deck collapses is the ledger, which is the first one. All these make sense though, right? Advanced framing technique. Most everybody got this right, except some people had all the same answer, which is where you got it. If anybody had the answer with, it had single headers was one of the 3 answers. Anybody have that? It had 24-inch spacing, 2 corner walls, single corner walls or 2 corner wall intersections, and then single headers. Anybody have that? What the hell is a single header? Anybody want to explain that to me? Okay, so now for the bright ones. What do you think a single header means?
A single header, technically, they use that non-load bearing wall, so it's one, 2x12 or 2x8 or something, and then they stack insulation all the way behind it.
Yeah.
It's not even
Okay.
a double.
That's the only thing that could possibly make sense. But that's not a single header. It's a what do you call it? A sandwich. There's different words they use. Sandwich header, so you're sandwiching the wood with the thing. But a single header doesn't really refer to insulation. I think that's what that must mean. But it's not a very good description.
They have a non-sandwiched one, but you have to mount a 2x4 up underneath it on the bottom. You have nailing and attachment for the window, and so you can put your trim.
You
on,
have a 2x4 header, right?
So it's a 2x4 flat with usually a 2x6 to a 2x12 sitting on top of it vertically, like this. And then there's a 2x4, and then the window opening below.
Well, I've never seen that 2x4. I mean, I think we saw it in one of our videos. That's a new thing. Traditional framing never does that. They just have the bulky header right on a trimmer, period. I've never seen that 2x thing.
It's not actually really used. There are some people on YouTube doing it. So
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube. So yeah, so they are doing it, but I don't think you need to do it. I don't know why they did it, except if they made the header ahead of time and they put a 2x12 on one side and they had insulation in, and the insulation could lay against that 2x4. I don't know. But anyway, I guess that what that meant was a single header, but I said, no, it's not, again, the language is important and that doesn't really cut it, but what else could it mean, right? Advanced framing is a good idea, but it's not approved by building departments. So the person or two who missed this must be new at building, because a system that wouldn't be approved, we wouldn't even be talking about it, right? So yeah, it's approved. Sometimes you wonder why, how. Okay, advanced framing, I think everybody got that. It was all of the above. 25. What is not, here we go. What is not an example is using a full wood window header, because that's the same as we've always done. So that's not an improvement. So B was the answer to that one, 25. 26, well, I think everybody got this. Wall corners with no stud drywall nailers need drywall clips. That's true. Where is a channel? So you could describe a channel, you could just say it's in an outside wall where a partition intersects. That's about the quickest answer. And then what happens to it? Well, the quick answer is it disappears, because if you are advanced framing, there's nothing. You just have the partition's got an end stud, and the end stud hits against, or the plate underneath the end stud hits against the plate of the outside wall. And that's how you connect it. So yeah, so it just, you don't even have a channel. It's what you do. This one probably wasn't the best question, 29, but everybody got it. The total rise is the distance that you're going to divide up into equal parts, right? By definition. But I added, and I meant finished floor, so that could have invalidated the question right there. Somehow it came out final. In my cocaine rush to get this test done, I saw final. Anyway, but I said finished because that's the reason that it's from finish to finish is because if you went from subfloor to subfloor, that may not be the whole space. That space may be diminished by a thicker finished floor on one of the floors or a thinner floor. So it's tied up with finished floor to finished floor because that is the end absolute distance. Okay. A stairway that turns L or U shaped will have a platform between stair runs. Now, this is usually true unless you consider a winder a stairway that turns. And I think only one of you missed this. And if they're here tonight, let me know if that's what you were thinking. And we can change it, because, it's an exception, but it does happen that you could call it a winder stairway that turns and it won't have a platform. So if nobody says anything, usually 2 points won't affect your grade one way or another, but it might. So if you're here and awake, check it out and tell me if maybe you just said, no, I just didn't know. The building code, I only think one person missed this and probably didn't hear our discussion. It does not allow overcutting because it thinks it weakens the stringer, which is total bunk because they only want a minimum, I don't know, it's 3.5 or 4 inches of meat, and an overcut just about goes to there. So you could still have that amount of meat, just as if you did a tread that whole size. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's the code. So you can't, you used to be able to, and it's so much easier because you can just do 2 saw cuts period and your stringer is done.
I was the one that missed that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was like thinking about that Larry Hahn video, and I thought that they
Oh no,
That
he
they-
probably did.
that they overcut on that.
No,
video.
no. Oh man, do you think he did?
Yeah, he definitely did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I know. There was something else Larry Hahn did that was wrong, and I noticed the other day too. That had changed since he was working. He's far enough back that there's been a few changes in the code.
Love that guy.
Yeah, but he's great. He's the way all of us used to work.
I love his videos. They're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, they're so down home.
Yep.
But he's, he's fun to watch because he's so graceful. He's been doing it so long that and you have to learn to be graceful in an ergonomic way to save your body. So he does things, and you can tell he doesn't waste he doesn't have a lot of energy to spare. He's such a beanpole, right? But he just is so graceful. I love to watch him because he doesn't waste any motion at all. And that's the way carpenters used to be, because, without nail guns, you have to really practice your swing so that it is accurate, strong, and doesn't mess up your arm so much. I love to watch him hammer. I'll just put on a Larry Hahn film and watch him hammer, Just kidding. At least some of the, something else about this overcutting? When I first started teaching this class, or whatever class we were doing, probably this class, I used to take a handsaw and, instead of a jigsaw, and do the, cut it with a skill saw and then finish it off with a handsaw. And all the students laughed at me like, hey, why don't you use a jigsaw? And I said, well, and the handsaw, when you do it backwards. So the little horn digs into your hand. So in Maine, where I used to work, we'd have one saw that does that, and you'd cut off the horn. So it was only good for, it was especially used for things. And it, it's just as fast as a freaking saber saw. I mean, if you got a good soft, and hand saws, I'll tell you guys, because I know none of you have ever used a handsaw. Handsaws come in a whole bunch of size teeth. So you can get actually rough framing handsaws that have big old giant teeth. And those will cut through like crazy. It's not like these little, like the Japanese saw have the reverse, have little tiny little teeth. But I saw what I was going to say is on a video I saw someone cutting them by hand. He's a young guy too. Yeah. So, but everybody wants to use electricity. Okay. So 32, yeah, at least some of the unit runs along a stringer must be level. That's the final way I've decided to word it. First I said most, and probably it depends on the piece of wood, but if it's got any kind of crown, most of them won't be. You'll have 3 or 4 in the middle, and then the rest, if you have 15, that's only a third, 3 or 4, but it's enough because the others will just be off a little bit. Unless it's too bent, but you shouldn't use something that's too crowned, right? You should crown those 2x12s, try to get straight ones, and then if you don't use them for a few days, they may bend a little bit, but they won't be bad. You don't want to use a really crowned one. It'll mess up everything. Treads across stringers don't have to be level. That's false. Otherwise that's really bad if the actual step, they're different levels. It'd be like drunk when you're going up the stairs. Winder staircase, everybody got that? Three parts of a balustrade. I said interior wall. I should have bolded that because some of you got the deck framing definitions, which are, baluster is the same, but they don't have newel posts. Well, they could have a newel post on a step, I guess. But and I don't know where people got the word spindle. If you go to the chapter on where the balustrades talked about in stair framing, it has baluster, top rail, newel, sometimes a bottom rail. but I don't think it mentions spindle. So I don't know where they got that. And I looked in the glossary in the book because sometimes students will go to that to get answers, and it wasn't in there either. So where'd you guys get those kind of answers? You guys use your phone and just, I need to know. This one, I showed pictures of these, and if you've been in any contemporary houses, which maybe you haven't been in and haven't seen these pictures, they don't have treads. I mean risers. You know, it's just open. That's somehow considered more elegant. It's also easier to clean too, huh? Okay, this was a riot, 37 and 38. Thank God. This is a great exercise. Trying to put these things into words. I got all kinds of crazy ass sentences, and I was pretty liberal with how I did it. But sometimes you do run and then you somehow get into rise. So I would put like tread, question mark, like, well, you didn't say anything about the tread. So I remarked, and some of you got 1 for each of these because you start out good, but then you failed to talk about the second term, the contrasting term. But the handout and in the book showed it really clearly, you know, and we talked about it as one being a distance and one being a material thing for both of these. So, but you did pretty well. Yeah, almost everybody got this too, that you adjust the bottom rise. Somebody said, if you don't believe you could do it in the center of the stair. And then I put, who believes that in the comment? I can't remember who said that. Anybody fess up to that? I mean, I just never heard of that. I don't know how it would work, but I was curious. You know, maybe they wanted the difference to be in the middle, so I don't know. I have no idea. You know, actually, even if you had a difference in your rises, and you had you had to have one that was a 1/4 inch bigger, I think it would be better at the bottom, because your body, after 3 or 4 steps, your brain establishes a pattern. So if that first step is off, but then the next few steps are the same, it'll still establish that pattern and you won't trip. But if you have that change midway or at the top, look out. You know, your brain's going to already have that pattern and you're going to hit it. So anyway. Okay, this one, people, where did you get this 44-inch answer? Not just
So,
you, John, half of the kids.
I have the code open right now.
Okay, you
So
have the code, but where did everybody else get the code? Did they just look up the?
It's a drr.ca.gov.
Yeah.
They
Well,
have
probably if you
those-
just Googled California building code stair requirements, you'd get there. too.
in my notes, it said 36 inches, but I looked up the code, and the minimum stairway is 30 inches wide for a residential building with less than 10 people. And the
Oh,
maximum,
maybe they've changed. They maybe changed the code.
and the maximum rise is 7.5 inches, not 7 3/4 for California. So
So, okay, so 2 things. I knew it was 11. So many people put 50, but I knew it was 11 or 50 residents. But you know, we're talking about residential building. Most residences have under 11. I mean, are designed for under 11. They may have more than under 11 now. So we would 36, but they go down to 30.
yeah, for if you have less private stairways serving an occupant load of less than 10 may be 30 inches wide.
Wow. Okay, so I'm wrong on that. So, but the only ones I corrected were ones that I didn't even correct them. I gave people credit for 44 because I knew the higher residence was 44. I put 36 as the answer, so forget that. It's 30. But that doesn't make any sense at all. That's really narrow. Well, anyway, and then the other one, 7.5. One person put 7.5, and I marked it wrong. So if that on the next one on 41. So if everybody else put 7 3/4, And the local jurisdiction can't override, how can I put this, in the direction of safety.
Yeah.
So the reason you have a maximum rise is because it's unsafe to have a higher one. So you couldn't have, so the cities have to go with the state on that. They could go less. They could say your maximum rise is 7 1/4. Santa Barbara could say it's 7 1/4. But so if the one person's here, I'll try to look. God, I have to look through all the tests. Question 41? Maybe I'll do it. Yeah, they put 7 1/2, and I said wrong. Okay. So you're not here, huh? Or you're not listening? Okay. I'll try to find it. So the ratio was one of those, R plus R equals 17, 18. That was the one we used the most. The book had 2 others you could have used, but I think one person used another one. And then the closest unit rise to 7 1/4, I think that was clear enough, but some people I think this was with a 15 rise, and some people had a 14 rise that was 7 5/8 or something like that, which is an acceptable rise, but it's not closer to 7 1/4.
Well, it wouldn't be code, I guess we know now.
What?
It wouldn't be up to code, which we know now.
Yeah. So 7 1/8 was the answer to that. And all of you translated the decimal in 1/7 and 1/8. I was really, or most all of you. 3/8 was the answer here. Some people misunderstood this question and put 4 inches to 7 3/4, meaning the difference between the shortest allowable unit rise and the tallest allowable unit rise. Well, actually, that would be an okay answer for that, wouldn't it? So did anybody get it wrong because they put 4 to 7 3/4 or 7 1/2?
Yeah, I did. I read it wrong.
Well, no, I would give that to you. Who said that?
Me, Jose Cornejo.
So what'd you get on the test, Jose?
I got an A.
Oh, okay, so it won't affect your grade anyway. But that, by the literal meaning of the words, you could put the minimum legal rise and the maximum legal rise. So that answer was okay.
Yeah.
So this one wanted you to do that formula, which I gave. You just had to subtract 7 from each of those and put that. Some of you got fouled up with the word span, and that was my fault because span is a spread in common language, but span's also a technical word in construction, so I shouldn't have confused it. Most of you got it right, but if that confused you, let me know. If you guys are victim of any of my mistakes and you think it might affect your grade, obviously if you got a good grade or an A, it won't get you any higher. But if you got a lower grade and you think it might, send me an email and tell me the numbers you're talking about, and I'll go to your test on here. So you don't need to send me your test, I'll know it. And I'll see if it makes a difference. So you can do that. But just email me with it. Okay, this 46, I got some funny answers, but I don't think a lot of you knew what a finished stringer was. But it's not really a stringer that takes treads and risers. It's they call it a finished stringer because it's next to the stringer. Who knows why they got that term, but it's just a trim board. You could cut it. Oh, I say without cutting. So you just have to space it out and put it behind it. Most of you got that. Most of you got this one. You have to have a nosing unless it's an angled one. You know, they put in hospitals. I know I go to what's that group, Sansum, you know, and there are new buildings over on Cathedral Oaks where the eye clinic is. Their stairs have that, and I think it's because a lot of old people go to those things, and they're liable to trip on those nosings. Even though the nosing's made to maneuver the steps better, old people don't always walk right, and so they put those diagonal ones. It's pretty common in public buildings.
Didn't we figure out with the new code though, if your stair is deeper than 11 inches, you don't need a nosing?
Yeah, actually. Well, yeah, did you say that last week
Yeah, I did.
or the week before?
No,
So I probably,
at some
the
point.
week before when we were talking about it, so I probably forgot it. So if anybody got that wrong, and that was why you were thinking, send that to me too. Most people answered that true, but if there was a false, and you were thinking, well, yeah, what if it's over 11? Doesn't need it. So 11 minus 18 is 7. And 11 minus 17 is 6. Yeah, you'd have short stairs if you did that, huh? Now, I don't know, is there a commercial ratio that's different than those ones in the book?
I believe so. I believe it's a little bit bigger.
It might be,
shorter, deeper.
yeah. Oh, okay, so for, we're almost done. 48, Douglas fir can't sit on concrete. It's not treated. That's why they have treated wood, so it can sit on water. So your treated sills on a house are all, I mean, your mud sills on a foundation are all treated. So for the same reason, you can't have a stringer that's not treated on a concrete floor. Minimum unit run on a stair, we've established that as 10. One person put 9, somebody, Hamar, somebody, and it used to be 9, so I hope you weren't thinking of the past. They've raised it. And then Eclipse, most people got this. It's not just to make accurate accurate designs, you know, or marks, because you can do that without the clips. So I only gave you 1 if you didn't put something about not having to remeasure each time. That's the real meaning of clips. Is once you set them, then you don't need to think about it. You just move them across the stringer, so it makes it faster. Any questions? So send any questions you think you should have got right that you didn't, and I'll check your grade and see if it makes a difference and get back to you. I'm not going to turn these grades for a couple of days. So I think people did pretty good. Obviously the people that have been doing a little bit of carpentry for a few years did the best because, you know, they've been doing it. A lot of you are new. I think some of you are even new and thinking about whether you want to go into carpentry. So you didn't have that benefit of having experience, but you did pretty good anyway. I was proud of I was glad of what you did. So for you, you know, your grade might have not have been as good, and that's, you know, it's not your fault. You're coming into a field that's pretty detailed in some ways, and it's hard to stay on top of it. The great thing about this, I'll say one thing and then I'll say goodbye. The great thing about this certificate that we offer is one thing you'll probably learn some things. If you've been a carpenter for 10 years, you won't learn a lot, but you will learn some things. But if you're new, you'll probably learn more. But if you go to get a job and you have a resume and you say, yeah, you know, I gutted out 10 frickin' classes at City College on construction, and you list what they are, and they see roof framing, blueprint reading, damn, they'll be impressed. And if you're all other things being equal, you'll probably get the job over the other guy. So it's just this certificate's not just a skills, project, but it's also has a little status with it. I've talked to, I used to belong, I just quit, to a trade organization that had Frank Skipper on it and what's his name? Doug, what's Doug's last name? He's a big carpenter in town. Don Gordon of Gordon Fiano, a lot of big name contractors. And I would ask them because they would advise me on this program. And they would say, oh, hell yeah. If a guy came in and he had a certificate on his resume, he said, we'd pick him up like crazy. We'd suck him right up. So I heard it from, those guys, Doug Ford, D.D. Ford. So I was thinking of.
It shows a lot of commitment taking the 2 years or whatever it is.
Fuck, 2 years at class? I mean, they don't know. You can actually joke about that. That's another thing you could do in the interview. You say, oh, God, we had these horrible professors. And you can mention my name because they all know me. And say, and we were tired as hell. We just wanted to go to bed. And, or we made a mistake and had our beer with our dinner before the class. And we had no idea what he was talking about. But, you can joke about that and say, yeah, but we did it. We stayed in there 2 or 3 hours. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
And they'll go, yeah, pretty impressive. So, yeah, so use this to the hilt, You're paying for it and you're gutting out the time. So, but it will help. I guarantee that. They won't be competitive for long because there's going to be so much damn work in the next couple of years. If your breath, fogs a mirror, you'll be given a belt and a hammer and, God, we just haven't had any spending for a while, but if that, and we don't know because it might depend on the senators from Georgia, but if they get the Green New Deal going or something, Biden doesn't like to call it the Green New Deal. You guys all know what that is? So it's, Ocasio, what's her name? Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez,
AOC.
Yeah, a rep, and Bernie Sanders and Van Jones, who actually had a job as a sustainable workforce person in the Obama administration, decided that since we need so much infrastructure, if we do green infrastructure, if we make it sustainable and green, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can have sustainable stuff and we can employ a lot of people. Great idea. What better idea? And government needs to combine things. So Biden doesn't like to call it that because he doesn't want to be associated with those people around election time. So he had to kind of pledge, but he'll do something similar because we have so many people out of work. And as soon as the money starts flowing again, our economy starts picking up, and that'll be soon because we'll have the vaccine pretty soon. Then there'll be a lot of building going on and remodeling and infrastructure. And you guys should be set if you go into this field, to do it. And they'll have to pay you what you want because they'll be so panicked. They'll be so hard up for workers. That's great, huh?
Yeah.
It has a way of taking a long time, but I think there's just too much, things are getting dangerous, they were going to change the Wake Center. I shouldn't tell you this because, well, you guys don't go into the regular buildings at the Wake Center. Those are, the classrooms for the Construction Academy are portable classrooms. So they're probably not earthquake safe, but they're so flimsy that nothing's going to fall down on you that's going to hurt you. But the other buildings, the elementary school, we were going to get bond money once, about 5 years ago, to redo the whole Wake Center because they are not earthquake sound. And we didn't get the bond, so nothing was done. But nobody talks about the fact that we're still using those classrooms and they're not totally safe. So infrastructure is not just bridges and highways, but it's public school buildings too. which there are millions all over this country. I mean, God, Santa Barbara's got 15 of them. So all that's got to be rebuilt too. So that's just like building houses when you're building school buildings and public buildings, all that's infrastructure. So when we get the money and things start rolling, we're going to have to replace a lot of that stuff. And if you guys are doing that work, that's your field. Okay, no more questions? You just want to go, right? Okay, hey, it's been a great class, you guys, and we'll try to make the blueprint reading this one last class decent, best I can. At least you know what you're up against when you get me. And then in the summer on, I think we'll be able to go back to our usual way. If we do that, I'll even take sessions, I know, and you hold me to this. I'll even take a few sessions and go through some blueprints and things from this class and maybe, the blueprint class and maybe from this class during that time. We can combine that stuff. Be kind of fun. So yeah, we'll be so glad to get back into that construction academy. Okay, guys, thanks for the class, and hopefully I'll see some of you in spring. Have a good vacation. Stay safe. Wear your mask, right? It's really getting crazy out there.
Thanks,
Hey, Patrick, I've been reading this really weird book. Have you seen this? I don't know. We should
Have you been reading it?
I read the last chapter. That's all I had time. I got it yesterday, and I read the last chapter. That was it.
Yeah, it's well, I'm working on one now. Oh God, it's hairy, but it's gonna take me a while. I can't stop. Anyway,
Hey,
so
Patrick.
yes,
it's
Donna.
Can I get put on the roll call?
Can you get put on the roll?
Yeah, I came in late.
Oh yeah. No problem. Did you get your grade and everything?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Hey, just a note on those mobile classrooms that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Those actually do get inspected for seismic foundations.
Well, they were inspected. Let's see, we got them maybe 10 years ago from Carpinteria.
Yeah.
So they would have been inspected in Carpinteria, right? When they were school buildings.
Yeah, all of those get inspected.
And then
Especially
probably the seismic stuff probably hasn't changed in 10 years for those, right? You think?
No, it's the same. They're cut sheets. They're
Okay.
state regulated cut.
Okay, well there. So at least we're safe. I can't vouch for the other rooms on campus. The
Yeah,
nice thing is they're all single stories, so that's your best chance.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that, Donna, because it's good to know those are. I mean, they're pretty skimpy buildings, those classrooms.
Yeah.
What?
They're like mobile home construction.
Yeah. So yeah, they're fun. We do a blower door test on them and laugh at them, but
Yeah.
actually they're not so bad. They are what they are, but they're cheap. Boy, we got those for $9,000 a piece.
Wow.
Moved from Carpinteria and installed. That's an unheard of a modern classroom for $9,000.
Yeah.
So we were lucky. They're not the nicest to look at. Someday when I'm 6 foot under, they'll realize how important construction technology is, and they'll build a whole new giant, beautiful program at the Wake Center. But we'll all have to wait for that.
DP had like 9 portables, and they just tore them down.
Yeah.
Just didn't even bother moving them. Just tore them down.
Yeah.
And they're gonna build something.
Yeah.
I remember when I went there, there's one of my classes, one of the math classes out there, and there was like a hole in the floor where it dipped down like 4 inches.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, you just put a desk over it and you walk around. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Well, if you compare our worst classrooms to the classrooms in villages in Africa, and we see those because we see, if you look at what's his name, Lawrence O'Donnell's news thing, he has a charity that contributes desks, And Africa's just getting desks now in their classrooms. Most people, I've been to India a lot. Most people in rural areas in India and Africa, which is a big shitload aspect of the world, sit on a dirt floor with the notebooks in their lap. So even our worst structures are more comfortable and better off. So we should be glad. Any other comments or? Yeah, see, Donna knows a lot. She should have been telling me this stuff all along. Donna, are you taking the blueprint reading class?
Yeah, I just need to sign up.
Oh, you need to sign up. You mean and take it? You mean?
Yeah, I need. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know
that'll
if I
be.
need to take it. I took a AutoCAD class at Fresno State. I need to talk to the counselors because I'm a transfer from Cuesta.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if AutoCAD will do that. She'll probably call me up
yeah,
because they don't know. They say, hey, are these the same? I'll check it out. We'll see.
Okay. If anything, I'll just take the class.
Yeah. Yeah, but you should be good. You should know most of that stuff probably, right?
I do read them. I read them daily.
It's a lot of stuff though, isn't it? But you can correct me though, just like John does.
Maybe I can ask my department if I can just provide you with the cut sheets that PlanCheck uses for the county.
Oh yeah. Oh cool. Yeah,
so
it'd be great.
You have that template, and that's public. That's public information anyway. So. Yeah.
Well, I do show that because I showed the documents from projects I've done in my own home. I'm in Galena City, but it's helpful to see, what you have to go through and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the cut sheet is what we use in PlanCheck when verifying plans.
Oh, yeah, that'd be really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, let's look at that.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Nothing else? You can all go home. You're already home.
Are we? How many people are signed up for Rodney's class? Is there only 5?
Only 5 right now. So
that's including me.
I tried to sign up for it, but it said that I didn't have a fulfilling grade or something, or I don't know. So Thursday I'm gonna talk to him and see what the deal is with that because there's no prereq for it. So I don't know.
There's no prereq, and if they still don't allow you, Michael, email me, okay?
Okay.
Because a lot of times I can talk them out of it.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the deal. I tried to register for it, and it said that I needed like some grade or I don't know what it was, but there's no prereq.
One of the problems was when people start taking classes, when you fill out, I think it's in the application for the school, they ask you what major you are, and if you put CT major or any major, then you're responsible for certain testing.
Gotcha. And
sometimes that hangs people up. So often they know not to do that, but if they're new or they're coming from outside, they do it. And if they ever talk to me beforehand, I say, no, put undeclared major. Because otherwise you have to do all these tests, But I can talk them through all that. I mean, most of the stuff's horseshit anyway. So.
All right, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you do that because I have some weight there. They rely on the program, and I was chair of this program for 12 years. So.
All right, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. So sign up for those. Here's another thing. Rodney's class is interesting. His cabinet making. Because I designed all the classes because I was the only one here for a long time before I hired those 2 guys. And I used to teach it, and I would build our own cabinets by hand, which is a great skill to have if you want to do your own and save money. But you're never going to do that in a regular business. If you're making cabinets for customers, for clients, you're going to either be a cabinet maker and have a shop, or you're going to just buy them. So, and that's more and more the case. Carpenters used to make more cabinets in the old days, but now it's almost all subbed out. So when he took over that class, that's how he did it, because he had a cabinet shop, and he was one of the main cabinet people in Santa Barbara. So it's actually better for what you go into. But if he's wasting time, sometimes he gets on these things I know he always wants to show you he's really proud of all this joinery he can do. So he's really talented that way, and I don't want to knock that. But if it takes too much time, and don't tell him I'm saying this, okay? If it takes too much time and said, hey, this is great, and can we learn how to make our own cabinets or how to make a cabinet door, you know, a certain kind of door, how to make the box. So you can do that with all of us. People do it with me, and they say, hey, Patrick, why don't we do this in this class, you know? And I'll try to fit it in. There's plenty of room. So make the class your own. You know, if it doesn't look like you're going to get the kind of stuff you really want to do, talk the teacher into doing an extra unit on it. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't care. There's so much stuff to learn. We could just teach you anything all the time and you'd be picking up stuff. But John, what were you going to say?
If you're interested in signing up for the classes, sign up for them so you don't lose them. I want to graduate before I'm 30. So please.
Yeah, you know, that's just like wearing a mask. It's not for you, it's for the other people. So that's a good point, John. A lot of our students in this class are, not a lot, a few, several, are right at the end of their career here and they want to get these classes. And if we have to postpone them because the rest of you can't make up your mind, it's kind of a shame. And I'll say one thing to that and then we'll go. And that is, if you're going to do the program, if you've decided to do a certificate, it would be wise to take as many as you can, soon as you can, because you just don't know the future. You know, all three of us are over 72 in this program, and we could, you know, we could keel over any day now, although we won't. But, you know, in other words, the future is always uncertain. So if everything else is equal, you have the time, money, and space, take the classes sooner than later. That's my advice. Of course, if you're stressed out and you're taking care of 20 pets and 20 family members for the pandemic, do what you need to do. But if you have a way to take these, it's wise to take them if you're going to do that certificate. So sign up.
And
Thanks for the reminder, John.
So far as to say, if you're struggling, if you have questions, and because I know some of the teachers are busy, you can ask me. I'm not going to do your homework for you, but I mean, I'm really trying to push the timeline on this. So
what class do you need all those classes, John?
I think I do. I need that, and then I think there's one in summer I need, but I'll probably be finished with my ADU by then, and then I'll get the early fall contractor's test.
Okay, and at the end of spring, we'll ask everybody what classes they need, especially you guys that are almost done, and we'll do those in summer, whatever it is. I mean, I'm planning to do roof. Do you need roof framing?
I do.
Oh, great. So yeah, I want to do that because it's been a while and everybody's been waiting. So, but there's room for other classes. So we'll ask everybody at the end of next semester what they need, and we'll try to tailor it.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. John's going to come over to your house and torment you if you don't sign up.
Yes.
And he's reporting back to me. Okay, see you next semester, hopefully, or around town, all right?
See ya. Good night.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, bye, guys.
All right, Patrick, take care.
Hey, bye.